Hey everyone, so I just accessed the Procreate app, which was that black app with the rainbow symbol in the middle, and I'm going to show you today how to make a face that looks kind of close to this one and general basics of how to use Procreate and my favorite features in the app, the basics that are going to get you going, and how you can start to draw your own faces. So what you can see so far already very quickly, I created a new document that's the screen size of my iPad. Now I am starting to create the base for my face, just drawing out the general guidelines. I started with a quick line, which is something you can create if you hold your your Apple Pencil, draw a line, and then if you hold it long enough, it will actually create a straight line. Then from there I kind of create my markers around it, so I've got the circle, the top of my head, the base of my chin, and then the general shape of the face so far. The way that I decide where the eyes are going to go is I say basically the middle where the bottom of the circle meets the sides of the chin, or the sides of the face. And then halfway from there is the nose, and then halfway from there is the mouth. The whole time I'm using quick lines. Here you can see I am creating a new layer because I want that base layer to be there. I want it to have my guides for where I'm going to put my eyes and my nose and my lips, but I don't want it to actually be in the final drawing. I want those to be able to be turned off later, so you'll see how I do that later. So I'm creating a new layer just for the face details, and right there you can see that I'm using my favorite pencil tool. Procreate has bunch of great paintbrushes you can use inside of the program, including a pencil tool. However, I feel like the Procreate brush that they use for the pencil effect isn't as pencil-y as I like it, so I've actually created my own pencil tool that I use to create all of these drawings. Another thing you can see that I do often is I rotate the drawing, which is super helpful because, I mean, just like you're working with a paper, I don't always draw straight on, so I'm constantly using my fingers to kind of like pinch and zoom, and that's how I'm creating that effect of like, okay, I want to get in closer here, so I zoom and I pinch with my fingers in and out. I rotate the canvas. It's all just with my two fingers. I'm pinching and zooming like this. So oftentimes when I'm creating something, you'll see I'm sort of working like with one hand with the pencil and my other hand's kind of doing this the whole time. Right there you can see I use the selection tool, which is a really good tool to know when you're first starting in Procreate. So that's right next to the arrow, and I made a selection with my Apple Pencil and then I just place it where I want it. Drawing the eyes, drawing the nose. Generally I'm putting that little circle right where those two lines meet for the top of the nose, and then the lips go on this part of the lip will go on the top line where I drew the line for the lips, and then just a nice, to get the cartoon effect that I like to draw in the most, I tend to draw like about 1/3 is the top lip and then 2/3 is the bottom lip, and then I'll draw this part of the lip at the bottom where I start to draw that line for that mouth. It's pretty much what I do every single time I draw a nose and mouth. And generally I try to keep the nose about right in line with the eyes, but because I have more of a cartoon stylistic way of drawing lately, sometimes it goes a little past or maybe stays a little smaller depending on the effect I'm going for at the end. Right here I'm just making sure that the iris is staying in the middle of the eyes. I like to really exaggerate the eyes because I love having big eyes in my final portrait. Just filling in the iris here. Sometimes I'll go in a second time and really, like if I want like some texture in the eye, I'll spend a little bit more time on that. For this time around, I just wanted to get the basics of helping you guys, one, get started with Procreate, and two, just get an idea of where everything is placed on the face, where all the tools are that you need to just get started in the Procreate app. And then in a second here, I do seem to get into the details a little bit before I finish my little guides, but in a second here, you're gonna see I put in the ears. And then last, I'll put in the hair and the neck. So generally the ears, again, similar to like the nose and the mouth, I typically place the ears like slightly above the eyes, either just slightly or a little bit past. It just depends on the overall effect that I'm going for. I really love the effect that this brush has. Also, of course, one of the reasons I love to draw in Procreate is that there's a pressure sensitivity to the pencil. So the harder I press, you'll see those make those darker lines, and if I press really lightly, then I can get a softer line. Something else I inevitably do when I'm drawing, and this can be a benefit and a downside to digital drawing, is that I can always use that back arrow that's on the left-hand side. You can customize Procreate to either have a left-hand side, so right now my brush customization, which I've rarely been using for this, I don't like to play with my brushes too much when I really know what I'm going to draw. I'll put that in another video, but there is a brush customization tool there on the left. You can also place it to be on the right, depending on which side you prefer to have your hand. Since my hand tends to rest on this side, on the right side, since I'm right-handed, I actually like to have what they call a left hand drawing preset. Because I like to actually fix the settings with my left hand so I can keep drawing with my right hand. Here I am finishing the hair, and you'll see here in a second I actually just use the top of the head, you know, because the head can look really big when you're first seeing it, but then when you start to place the hair, you can see why we leave so much space, or why my style leaves so much space for the hair at the top. Is I actually just like to leave, almost like you're looking at someone like this, how you're looking at me right now on the camera. And I'm basically done. At this point in the drawing, I just go and clean up a couple things. Like I saw her chin wasn't closed all the way. I add a couple extra lines to her hair, but overall the drawing is mostly done for the purposes I wanted to do. And the last thing you're going to see me do is I feel like her face is a little bit like this, a little tilted, like I'm exaggerating a lot right now on the camera, but I just wanted it to be straightened out. So there's ways to select specific pieces you want in the drawing to edit, like I did with the eyeball. But if you just hit the arrow tool next to, closest to the paintbrush, next to the zigzag tool, and then you hit that green dot that is above those blue points, that will allow you to rotate this way without making any weird alterations like some of those other blue points do. Those are kind of fun to play with occasionally, but here you can see it's my end result, and I hope you guys enjoy using the Procreate